Hello, everyone, and good day. My name is Don Green. Many of you know me as an attorney in California and Nevada from the gun shows, from the television productions at Rigel Studios on the American Guns and Glory Network. Today, we've got a special report, 4 subject areas of critical importance to the viewing and listening audience on matters of incredible importance for the individuals. And today with me is Maggie Mordaunt, and she is the owner and director of Homeland Personal Protection in Nevada. She's a nationally recognized firearms and self-defense expert. I have used her in self-defense shooting cases, in a homicide and other shooting cases. They've all been very successful, but it's a lot of hard work. Thank you for being here today, Maggie. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Don.
Okay. Now, I want all of you to watch the following 2 videos over which Maggie and I are going to make some comments. May we have the first video, please? The purpose of this video, and Maggie can add in, what happens if you find yourself in this type of a situation? Because I'm going to ask the listening and viewing audience, do you know where this riot is going on? It's going on in London. Mild-mannered, let's have some tea in the afternoon, London. Maggie, what do you do when you find yourself, we're going to get into bare fear in a moment. What do you do when you find yourself in this type of a crowd? You're coming out of the store. What do you do with you and your family?
If you can, go back into the store, get some good coverage, some barriers between you and this potential chaos that's going on outside the store. If you can make your way through it as quickly as possible without making eye contact or having any discussion with anybody in that crowd, would be great to get a better place of advantage to try to get away from that area as soon as possible.
Okay, may we have the next video, please? Here's a video for our listening and viewing audience of a riot, a Hamas protesters riot in front of a federal building in Washington, D.C., and you can see that rioters are dragging police officers, and the charges were all dismissed. These are the same types of charges which were lodged against many, if not all, of the January 6 defendants. They're getting charged. And look at the Capitol Police. They're getting deluged by these pro-Hamas protesters. Now, Maggie, what do you do? What do you do when you're in that type of a situation, when there's this actual physical violence? What do you do?
If you can get away from that situation. If you're in the middle of it all and hands are laid upon you, do your best to defend yourself. I'm a big fan of de-escalation. Hey, I'm not a part of this. I don't want any part of this. Back away from me and try to evade that situation as much as possible. That's a pretty aggressive situation right there.
Now, that's a good point that you just made. And I want to ask you something. Before we get into bare fear, what is situational awareness?
So situational awareness is something more for me in terms of a good learning tool. Know who's in your environment, know better places that you can get to, seek that cover or concealment. Just knowing what's in your environment, what may actually present itself at a moment's notice, and what are you prepared to potentially deal with in that situation? Do you have the training? Do you have the means? Do you have your own personal weapon that you may be able to use to defend yourself, whether it be a firearm or other blunt force object, or even hands and feet if you're capable?
Question. Even though the rioters don't have any firearms, they've got posters, they've got banners, they got sticks with posters on them. But what about the crowd? Is the crowd, this Hamas protester crowd, is that a weapon itself?
Well, multiple individuals against yourself, that's pretty self-evident to see that multiple individuals could attack you, take you down, hands and feet, even if they had nothing other than their hands and feet, they could still be potentially a threat to you, even one individual for that matter, but multiple individuals. For myself, I'm 5'3", 140 pounds. I'm athletic and everything. I do my best to protect myself, but multiple attackers, I'd really definitely be in fear for my life. That incident happening in that moment, it's happening now. There are seconds that I need to figure out what am I going to do next.
And can we say that in defense, let's say we're defending the person who is defending himself, these people have no qualms about attacking police officers. So if you are Joe Citizen and you're getting attacked, do you think it would be reasonable if you can't go anywhere, there's no duty to retreat in Nevada? Do you think it's reasonable if you present deadly force? Maybe you don't fire your weapon, but would you believe that this would be a viable defense? We're not advocating it, but do you think it's a viable defense?
I do. I do really feel that it's a viable defense. Defending others, we have the right to defend others along with ourselves in that moment, regardless of whether we know that person or not. Okay. I think that jumping in and trying to help somebody, it's a noble thing if you have the physical abilities to do so, and doing what you need to do to protect yourself and others, I think is a good thing.
Let's go to the slide on bear fear, please. Bear fear. Imminent threat of great bodily injury or death. Imminent means imminent, immediate in your presence. Define that for us, Maggie.
So imminent threat of great bodily injury or death, the immediacy of the danger, it's happening in seconds. It is being thrust upon you now. You can feel it coming. You can feel it. It's happening. And now you have to do something to defend yourself, whether it is evade whenever possible, deploy whatever force equalizer you've chosen to use, whether it be a firearm, knife, balisong, or hands and feet for that matter. Do something in that moment because it's happening now. You have exhausted all other efforts to do something else.
What happens if you get a call from your kids? Mom, they're beating me up. I'm in North Las Vegas and you live in Southern Highlands. Can you drive all the way to North Las Vegas and attack these people? Yes or no?
No.
Why?
911 should have been called, and I would only hope that the police would be there first in that case.
Let's change this.
I can't imagine driving that distance and thinking that I could get there in time to do something.
But yet you and I see these examples, not daily, but we've seen these, correct?
We have seen these situations. One could only hope that the attack had gone away by the time I got there. I'm not saying I wouldn't be on my way. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that that's a lot of time between me leaving and getting there. If it's still ongoing and I show up and there's still an ongoing attack, then at that point I may be able to do something about it.
Someone is beating up your kids in the front yard. They're screaming. You go outside. You see that it's a gang of these bullies, not from the neighborhood, attacking your children, much larger than your children. Can you take action?
I can take action.
And is it still bear fear of great bodily injury or death?
It is.
To who?
To not only my child who's being attacked, but also potentially to myself who have now put myself in a place where now I'm defending someone else. They may actually offer me that personal violence as well. Should they not do so and they evade from the situation, then let them go.
So the bottom line on bear fear is that it got to be more than just bear fear. It has to be real, imminent threat, great bodily injury or death. Correct?
Reasonable, yes.
Correct. Not somebody bumping into you at Walmart with a shopping cart, correct?
An accidental bump in? For sure not.
What happens if they shove the shopping cart and pin you up against your vehicle, and then they display a knife? It's still the bump, but it's different circumstance, correct?
It is very different. There's intent there. There's intent. It's a very clear and present danger. They're using the cart as a weapon against me. So another knife has come out. That's another weapon. Yeah, definitely intent is clear.
Thank you. We're going to change subject and go to road rage. We hear about it every day. Let's see that's the slide on the video on road rage, please. Here's the slide. Now, what would you advise your people to do in your training, in your classes, when they have a road rage type incident? What's the first thing they should do?
Definitely find out, be aware of the area that you're in. How can you get off the road as quickly as possible, get to a place where there are others who could potentially help you. As you're deploying your cell phone, hopefully people have their cell phones where you can actually tell it to call 911 and go hands-free whenever possible. Definitely find somebody who could help you in that situation.
What happens if the guy comes up to you out of his car, starts banging on your window, no weapons displayed? Can you draw your weapon at that point?
Well, at this point, you're not technically in danger. Glass hasn't been broken. There is no way of them being able to reach you. You're not breathing the same airspace. You're inside the car. They're outside the car. And, at this point, you're still safe. And you could potentially, hopefully, still drive away.
What happens if the guy gets out with a tire iron, starts beating your windshield? At that moment, can you draw your weapon?
So I've seen in some cases where, yes, you can, because a weapon is now being deployed towards you. Them just holding the tire iron is one thing, but them now beating the vehicle with the tire iron where it could actually make impact and an impact upon you as it thrusts through the glass. One could say that, yes, deploying your gun, shooting to stop the threat from continuing to present that lethal threat to you, efficiently stopping that threat from continuing is really important.
What about a liberal DA who says, "Oh, you just broke your windshield. You shouldn't have displayed your weapon. That's why we're charging you with assault with a deadly weapon." What's your answer to that?
My answer is that there was a clear weapon thrusting its way through the glass. It was being perpetrated towards me, and I felt my life was in danger. I saw as a reasonable choice because I couldn't drive away at that moment. Let's just say that was the case. I couldn't drive away. This person was already engaging me, and so I drew my force equalizer, my firearm against their force equalizer, the tire iron, if you will, the weapon of their choice. And I reasonably felt that this was the right choice, in my opinion, to do that.
Do you have to fire your weapon?
Do you have to? I don't think it's a have to. It's more of a did you need to?
Okay,
To
question.
stop them from continuing to
Okay,
present
let
that
me
lethal
rephrase the
threat.
question. With these facts, do you need to draw the weapon, or do you need more fear of great bodily injury or death? Do you need more?
No.
So, but
In my opinion, I would say no, because if it were me personally, and I was in my vehicle, and somebody is breaking the glass with a tire iron, this is a piece of steel that they're thrusting towards me, and I draw my firearm at them because now that person can reach me easier. There's chaos ensuing, and the best thing I can do is use my skill set to do what I need to do, and use the tool that I feel is sufficient to use in that situation to stop them.
you get off the freeway immediately. The guy gets off with you and goes towards you. You might not even have time to call 911, correct?
Possibilities. It just depends on the individual's mindset. If they have their defense plan together, I know a lot of people are improvising as they go, and they even totally forget to call 911 and ask for help.
Okay. So, again, try to avoid the conflict if at all possible. And I take it,
De-escalation, avoidance is great.
and I can take it that in your classes, in your CCW classes, and your more advanced several day classes, do you emphasize to the people that you, in road rage, in bare fear, that they better be pretty certain before they touch that weapon, correct?
Correct.
So again, the shopping cart getting bumped inside Walmart, or somebody takes your energy drink from the refrigerator at Walmart by the checkout line before you do, that is not bare fear, correct?
Not bare fear at all. More ego.
Okay, you're in Walmart. Someone runs in wearing a shemagh, AK-47 pistol or rifle, and shoots up into this, yelling Allah Akbar and shooting into the ceiling. He's not collecting for the Girl Scouts. Can you do you have fear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Can you use your
Most
weapon?
definitely.
If you think, can you use your weapon at that time? Because he's shooting into the ceiling. Can you use your weapon to de-escalate the situation or to neutralize the threat?
So my first move would be to get to some cover. Get to cover as quickly as possible. This person is already firing a weapon, and the assumption of risk is there because he's already deployed a weapon. And to stop him from causing harm to others or myself, one would say that I could actually de-escalate the situation by stopping him from continuing to present a lethal threat to myself and others because he's already firing a gun.
And we are seeing, would you agree that we are seeing these, not necessarily the firing, but these violent incidents inside of grocery stores, department stores, Walmart, 7-Elevens? We're seeing a lot of that. Any observations as to why?
Well, there is this ego and these people who are just cowards and just attacking individuals who are unknowingly getting ready to be attacked, attacking certain individuals who they feel are easy prey. Someone who is small or elderly, things like that. They're just a bunch of cowards, and they're just trying to make an impression on society and cause fear amongst everyone.
And would you advocate more training than just the CCW class?
Oh, most definitely. A CCW class is nothing but a concepts class. I've said in the past, quite honestly, I really feel that with rights comes responsibilities, and people should get out there and seek training so that they can actually not only defend themselves, but not be a threat to society with the lack of ability of using a firearm. Because if someone doesn't know how to use something properly, the gun's not going to protect you. You are actually the weapon. The firearm is just the tool.
Let's go to the next subject area, battery domestic violence, so we can clear up a few areas. May we have that slide, please? Now, battery domestic violence, I want everybody to be real clear on this. It's an unlawful touching. It doesn't require an injury or harm to the victim. There must be a relationship, blood, marriage, dating, ex-dating partner, roommate. And it's not a self-defense. She deserved to be punched because she took the remote. Now, tell us in your experience, what you have when people come to your classes as either victims or they may even be charged with battery domestic violence. Do you run into that?
I have in the past. The individual didn't know if the charges were still active. I have the ability to look it up to see if it's still in the system as a domestic battery or they've been convicted of it. It's something they'll actually have to go back to court, maybe have it reduced, maybe take some training courses, and have it dismissed. And so one could only hope that people want to grow and learn from their wrong ways in this case. But if it's still active, they cannot take my class.
That's good, because some of these other CCW instructors in town, not going to name them, they don't care. They got a classroom full of people. They paid their money. That's all they care about. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a very key word a few moments ago, dismissed. I always tell my clients, do not plead to anything, because the ATF and the FBI regulation looks at the original conduct to determine whether or not you are firearms eligible, because it is a lifetime ban on the possession of any firearm and ammunition. Do not negotiate your case to any offense. I don't care if it's illegal dog catching, because the federal regulations require them to look at the underlying conviction, not the crime of, not the underlying conduct, not the crime of conviction. And every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I carry around the opinion letter, which I got from the FBI 5 years ago on this very issue. So let me ask you something. What do you do when you've got a victim in your class who wants to take a concealed weapon class because she wants to get even with her husband or boyfriend? What do you say, if anything?
So words have meaning. And if someone is protesting poor behavior, it's not something that I can allow to continue. I let them know they want to seek counsel. They want to get complete with what's happened, and that the best thing to do is to just focus on bettering themselves and staying away from their batterers. It's really better off, not only mentally for them, but physically for them to stay out of that. They don't want themselves, in turn, to actually get charges in return because of that. That, like in Bear Fear, we talk about, the spirit of revenge. It's just not a good place to be. And quite honestly, I'll return their money and tell them that they need to leave my class, because I don't really feel comfortable signing that document saying that they did take my class, but then maybe in that mental capacity, and they have a whole classroom full of people, 30 plus people who have just heard this person say they want to get revenge after getting my class under their belt and learning how to use a gun.
Now, you mentioned that word revenge. Is that in the statute on concealed weapon classes and in Nevada revised statutes?
So it's really more in the bare fear, insufficient to justify the killing, a reasonable fear required.
Explain that to our audience, please.
So definitely when somebody is going to use a firearm, we have to have that reasonableness of why we would be forced to use a firearm. It's not something that we look forward to doing. It's something we shouldn't look forward to, but be very well trained and prepared should we be forced to do so. So in that idea that if someone is in a position where they are suffering from the aftermath of being attacked or assaulted or whatever it may be, if they've been dissed or dismissed by someone and now they want to seek revenge, it's my responsibility to protect the community, to make sure that I let that person know that this is not the class for them, and I recommend better things for them to go do other than seeking to take revenge and purchasing a firearm. Now, there's a difference between this ongoing attack may be happening, even though they're angry about it, they still want to protect themselves. They're being forced to protect themselves. That's a whole other different context between revenge and being forced to protect themselves against a potential attacker who may actually come back. Again, there's that history, that prior propensities. They have, history with the individual, and maybe they're angry about it, and there is a difference in clarity of that.
Excellent answer. Let's go to our final segment today, and we're going to talk about an issue that's going to get real ugly next January, possible ammo tax. Now, in Nevada, we have the Democrats currently control the Assembly and the Senate. If they control the legislature, it continues with Democrats, we can expect an ammo tax being proposed, just as with California. I want to stress to everybody, in my defense, if I was to attack the ammo tax, I would not attack it as a Second Amendment issue. The ammo tax is whether it is a reasonable regulation with a legitimate public purpose. It's not. It's designed to harm people who own firearms. That's the bottom line, not a Second Amendment issue. Now, we've been paying excise taxes before I was born. When you go buy a new set of tires, you pay an excise tax. That's what pays for these interstate freeways. If you buy a bottle of liquor, there's an excise tax. If you buy cigarettes, there's an excise tax. And who controls these regulations? Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. A lot of people don't realize that. They always forget what the first words are is alcohol and tobacco. We've had excise taxes for years. So Maggie, what would you tell your people when they complain to you about whether or not there's going to be an ammo tax?
Well, there's really not a whole lot I can do about what politicians are going to do, what the alcohol and tobacco are going to do. I really can't control that situation. All I can tell my students is they want to continue to take training, continue to practice within reason. And when they are taking training, at least they know what to go and practice so that they're not wasting their money on just shooting up the ammunition that at some point may actually become very expensive. I would say to my students also, vote better. Taxation is theft, in my opinion. I think that when it comes to the politicians, they don't do a very good job of spending our hard-earned dollars in these recent years. And so we see that our students are looking at an investment in purchasing firearms, ammunition, training, gear, and things like that.
Yes.
Everything that goes with purchasing a firearm, all the way down to a trauma kit, if you will. They want to utilize their funds responsibly, be a good steward of their resources, but also be a good steward of their community.
Yes.
Making sure that they're not being irresponsible with that right that they have to keep and bear arms. And again, like you said, it's not about the Second Amendment. It's about how hard they're making it for us to afford to exercise our Second Amendment, and
Exactly.
that takes ammunition.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm involved in the ammo tax litigation in California. And although the ammo tax itself was struck down by Judge Benitez in San Diego, federal judge appointed by Judge Bush II, it's now the Ninth Circuit vacated the permanent injunction. So now it's just going to go, it's just going to be briefed. I don't know what the impact of Bruin's going to be. That is the New York pistol decision from 2 years ago, but it's going to factor in right now. So just want everybody, as Maggie points out, vote. And we have nothing against the FBI, nothing against Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They do a great job of enforcing. They're enforcing the laws. It's nothing against them. But we have had these excise taxes for many years. And I just brought out about alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It's going to be next. So, Maggie, I want to thank you for taking your time out. I know you've got business things that you've got to get done. We'll see each other on the next series of shows. I want to let everybody know that there's a very important series of judicial elections coming up, and if we can have the slide for Judge Dustin Cruz, please. I think it's coming up. Judge Cynthia Dustin Cruz has been a judge for several years, a very fine defense attorney. She is the chief judge of the Las Vegas Justice Court, which has 17 departments. It is a monstrous job to control the drug court, the veterans court, the specialty courts, the criminal division, the civil division. There's a lot going on. And she's very well qualified. She'll be a guest on one of our shows coming up in September. The next judicial candidate, we'll show her slide right now, please. And that is Hillary Heap. I've tried cases with Hillary Heap and preliminary hearings, and let me tell you, she's tough as nails and knows her stuff. She's an eminently qualified deputy district attorney, a chief deputy district attorney, and she's probably, in my opinion, the most qualified person for Justice Court Department 4, which is an open department right now. I think there's 4 or 5 people who are running in that department, but Hillary Heap is definitely got my support. Vote your conscience. I'm only telling you because I know these people, I see them in court, and I respect them. And I want to thank everybody, and I want to thank Maggie for taking time out. She's got a lot going on today, people from out of town, and she's taken her time out to provide very valuable assistance to our viewing and listening audience. And Maggie, would you mind giving your telephone number, please?
Yes, Homeland Personal Protections, hpptraining.com. Our phone number is 702-375-5900. You can give us a quick phone call or go to our website. You can book a class on our website. Give us a call, text message that number as well. I look forward to seeing you soon.
And this is Don Green signing off. And you can always reach me on my cellular 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 702-409-8239. My phone number's on the internet, so I don't have any ex-wives looking to chase me down for alimony or anything like that. So I feel pretty good about that. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing, and we'll see you next time.